Welcome back, it's Eddie here from Tyneside Life. First of all, I'm in the house because it's just too hot out there. So I'm in here with 3 dogs, my 2 collies, Lily and Setu, and Helen's Cocker Spaniel, Duke. So I'll apologise now for any unexpected interruptions. So last night, Helen and I were at St James's Park to watch Saudi Arabia play an international friendly against Costa Rica. There's going to be a second one against South Korea on Tuesday. First time this has ever happened. Of course, our owners are part owned, or 80% owned by Saudi Arabian's PIF. And with that comes some controversy from various human rights groups, in particular one calling themselves Newcastle Fans Against Sports Washing, who were there last night. We'll get to that in a minute, but I caught up with that group about a year ago in a similar protest behind the Gallagher end, so they're completely familiar to me. I've interviewed John Hurd before, their leader, and he was there again last night, and there are some things I take exception to, in particular with their particular cause against Newcastle United. Please don't be tempted to jump in and think you know or understand what my views are, or assuming you think I'm being unfair. Please read the video description. I have put a summary in there which shows how I feel and understand about the whole situation, how I feel about the protests against Newcastle United. Have a read of that and then come back and you'll have a better understanding of what's happened last night. So in addition to the protest group, there was a lady who's attached herself to the group over the past week or so. She's a Saudi national called Lina Al-Halhuth, and she has a sister in Saudi Arabia who was imprisoned in recent years for 1,001 days for sending tweets that the Saudi government thought was contentious or dangerous. I don't know, I haven't seen the tweets. But she went to prison and allegedly she was tortured there. And her sister Lina, who's in the UK now, obviously takes exception to that and wants to try any opportunity to raise awareness of human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia. And I wanted to catch up with her last night, but she wasn't there. I did reach out to the group about 3 days ago on their social media platform, Facebook, part owned by the PIF, the irony, but they didn't respond. I sent a private message. I wanted to speak to Lina in a more of a sanitised environment, but also I sent an email. That was ignored as well. So disappointingly, Lina wasn't there because I have got some issues with 1 or 2 things that she's writing and saying that clearly to me are twisting the political narrative, or factually incorrect. One of those being the issue surrounding what the legally binding assurances are with the PIF and Newcastle United. So I didn't get that opportunity. I also have issue with John Hurd and his group over 1 or 2 things, in particular their notion of what sports washing is, because how they're throwing this popular word around, which was brought about by Amnesty International, is very, very misleading. And to use that term against Newcastle United, to me, is a bit like a 4-year-old trying to explain how babies are made. So I take exception to that. I take exception to Newcastle being targeted as low-hanging fruit. I take exception to these human rights groups expecting fans to protest against Saudi Arabia, to discard them, to exclude them, to banish them, annex them into the margins of society. I take exception of all that, but also as well, I think more importantly, expecting Newcastle fans to fight their battles of human rights issues. I mean, I don't even know what the population of Saudi Arabia want for their country, in particular women. I take exception to them wanting individuals from other countries to fight their battles. So I wanted to question John Hurd about that. But before that, I did get the opportunity to speak to some Saudi Arabian fans. I didn't know what to expect really, but I was really pleasantly surprised, and it was great to see the Saudi fans there, families, you know, the wives, girlfriends, partners, kids, big smiling faces, and I caught up with a few of them. What's your names?
Reem. Mohammed.
Mohammed.
Walid.
Very nice to meet you. And who do you support?
Al-Nasser.
Al-Nasser. Al-Nasser, Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And have Al-Nasser signed any big players from Europe?
Yeah.
Who?
See?
Who?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Wow. Ronaldo? Have you seen him yet?
No.
No. Anybody else?
No, but we're gonna see Salman today.
Saudi Arabia today against Costa Rica. How excited are you?
Very excited.
Yeah. Do you live in England now?
No. Yeah.
You forgot where you live?
We live here. We live here.
Well, hope you have a very good time.
You too.
Okay, my name is Hala. I came from Manchester.
Okay, and are you from Saudi Arabia originally?
Yeah, I'm from Saudi Arabia. I'm a student in Manchester, so I came here for Saudi Arabian team.
How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like it's the very first friendly game during that season, and with a lot of that changes that have been in the Saudi League, I'm excited to see their performance, how they will. The experience that I got from there, it's not long, but I'm excited to see, yeah.
So this is really exciting for you.
Yeah.
Come to St James's Park, see Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
United FC.
So,
beat Costa Rica.
so I'm excited to be here in Newcastle. My very first time to be here in St. James Park, and
What do you think?
I love the city, to be honest. And the stadium, I didn't think that it's this big, and I loved it. It was always one of my checklists.
My name is Abdullah. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
I'm Mohammed from Saudi Arabia.
My name is Ibi Halhol. I'm from Egypt. I come all the way to watch the game tonight. I'm a football coach here. I base in Durham, the northeast. I coach in Spanimore as well. So I'm glad to come to give them some support as an Egyptian in Saudi. We are all the same, you know them. So we're looking forward for the game tonight. Should be a lovely atmosphere tonight, as we always here in the northeast in St James Park. It's always amazing atmosphere. So I come with my family, my wife and my kids. So we're looking forward for the game tonight. I'm sure our brother here tonight will have a lovely night, and Saudi will win. Yes,
Absolutely. That's impressive, man.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to see more videos like this and be notified the moment I release the next one, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Aren't they just lovely people? Of course, Saudi Arabia went on to get beat 2-1 off Costa Rica last night, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I was so impressed. I did approach quite a few Saudi nationals there. They're very shy, very reserved, if you like. I did try and ask some of them about their feelings about these protests. None of them would talk about it at all, so that was a non-starter. However, when I was over by the protest group, the other side of Strawberry Place, one Saudi national did come up and he was quite angry.
Abuses in Iraq. Speak about the foreign abuses by the UK in Afghanistan. Speak about the UK foreign abuses in Palestine. Speak about the foreign abuses everywhere. Don't just speak about Newcastle. No, you don't. You're just speaking about Saudi Arabia. Stop your brainwash.
So yeah, quite angry he was. So the protest group John Hurd, as I mentioned before. Who is John Hurd? Well, he's a gated lad. He's from Felon. I did have looked into his history and his blogs and his causes. He joined the Labour Socialist Party a few decades ago. He's far left-wing. He's an extreme left-wing socialist militant, you could call him. In my mind, he's probably just one notch away from being a Marxist. So he has radical views that aren't mainstream on the left-hand side of politics. And I wanted to speak to him to challenge him because, of course, in this country, we have the right to protest. Nobody would try and stop anybody from having a protest. Knock yourself out, whatever your cause is. What protesters don't have the right is not to be challenged. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to put some things to him based on what I think is a twisted political narrative for his own aims. Because what he wants, he just wants to spend 5 minutes, and he's happy to do so from full national media to local fan content channels who are just going to stand there with a microphone to give him the opportunity to unleash whatever he wants to say in his way. And some of it is just twisted bile, and I take exception to that. I don't think it's right he should just be given the opportunity. Journalism should be about challenging some of these ideas and some of these opinions that were coming out with, and none of them were doing it, and that's what I wanted to do. So I approached John, and this is what happened.
I'm not really interested in talking to you because it's the hatchet job. It's like, you're not real journalists, you know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I just want to ask him some questions, John.
I'm not. We don't want to.
John here. Go on, John. Just want to ask you some questions. I just want to talk about this claim of sports washing. John, can you explain what sports washing is? John?
Got to speak to a guy from the Middle East now.
Can you-
How's the Middle East?
Can you explain what sports washing is for the viewers?
It's very easy. It's very easy.
Go on, please.
Thanks a lot, John. Okay, cheers.
So there you go. In my mind, John just didn't have the courage to enter into any sort of debate with me. He just wants the opportunity to spiel off whatever he wants to spiel off. And as well, look at the group. There's about 7 or 8 of them. That's it. And they get national media coverage without challenge. Come on, guys. Start doing proper journalistic work. And I'm talking to you proper journalists as well. It's not on, man. Start challenging these individuals. But not only that, they've got that that poster that they're holding up with the Newcastle shirt and the bloodied prisoners behind bars. Fair enough. But you in walking within feet and meters of families and women and little kids who are seeing this, just not appropriate, man. So that's it from me in terms of video. They're not getting any more of my time or effort. If you out there as a viewer have got comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you want to ask me a question about my views and want to know a little bit more, you want to even enter into a bit of a debate with me, I've got no problem with that. Do it via email, inquiries@tynesidelife.com, rather than being tempted to make some personal little quip that's just doesn't reflect my views or what I've said in that video. And I really appreciate that. So I hope you enjoyed the video and the content, a bit different. And tomorrow I'm off to the Newcastle United women to see them play in their first home game.